Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Fiddle. Today's project will be the tiny couch and chair for the tiny house family room. And don't forget to check the link in the description where you will find the materials and free printable pattern that you'll need to make these pieces for yourself. Before we start tracing our pieces, we have to do a little bit of prep work. We need to treat the ribbon with watered down glue and let it dry completely before we trace our pieces. This is so when we go to cut our ribbon out, it doesn't come apart on us. And some glues, especially super glue, will make a dark spot. This gives it a protective layer so that don't happen. Okay, we're going to start with tracing our couch pieces first. We're going to use the wire trim to our advantage with this, and it will become a part of the trim. So when you go to trace these pieces out, make sure you're lining the flat end along the side with the trim of your ribbon. Now we're ready to cut these pieces out, but we don't want to cut on the line, you just want to kind of cut a box around it. Once you've done that, set them aside for a minute, and we're going to take our ribbon and cut just the trim off. A 3-inch piece should be plenty long enough, and you want to leave just a little bit of the woven part from the ribbon itself, so that way it holds it together a little bit better. And on a side note, I know one of my pieces looks a little bit different than yours. I ended up changing mine after this process and made your pattern from the changes. Now we're going to take the trim and glue it down over top of our outline of just one of the pieces. And my hand was in the way for a lot of this clip, sorry about that. I used Aleene's tacky glue, but you could use super glue if you wanted. And if you have a problem with your trim wanting to stick, you can use clamps to hold it there until it dries. When you've reached the other end, cut off your excess and set it aside to dry. For the other half of the couch, we're going to go ahead and trim along our line. This piece will be the seat for the couch. I found it's easier to add the feet before you actually put the couch together, and for that you'll need the fancy end of 4 toothpicks, just the very end nub. You won't need all the fancy details, unless you'd like a taller couch. Set that piece aside and our other piece should be dry enough that we can trim off the excess. You'll want to cut as close as you can without cutting through your detail. Before we can glue our two pieces together, we need to shape the back half of the couch to match the bottom half, and this brings up one of the good points of why I really like using wire ribbon for making furniture, and that is you can give it interesting shapes without trying too hard. And this is also where I realized I needed to make adjustments to the back of my couch and where I changed your patterns. Okay, now we're ready to glue it together. I found it easier to put the glue on the seat cushion part first and attach it to the back. You'll want to put it just above the trim line on the back of the couch. For pieces this small, I like to use a clay silicone tool to clean up extra glue. And with that, our tiny couch is done. If you wanted to add a trim along the back of the seat, you could, but when I put a piece in there, it just looked like it made it a little too bulky. You could also add bits of craft foam as cushions and pillows, or you can even paint it, just to give you some ideas. The process for making the chair is exactly the same as it is for the couch, only a little bit smaller. And with that, it brings us to the end of our tutorial. If you've made it this far, thank you for being here. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe as it really helps me out a lot. Thank you, Ginger, and I'll see you next time.